Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topic today is food shortages. Yes, I know we've covered this a lot, but I think you're going to want to hear what I have to say about it today. I got some new information. Okay, first of all, if you need gold or if you have an IRA or 401k, call 800-200-GOLD. If you want one of those pepper bars, gold or silver, 844-71-1776. If you have crypto, you should call or look up blocktrustira.com. All right, Friday night, 6:30 to 7:30, I'm teaching through the book of Revelation. This particular Friday night, I'm going to be teaching through starting at chapter 7. You don't want to miss it. Also, if you have a car and if you want it to start after the suitcase nukes go off, here's what you want to have in your car. You go to EMPShield.com. You can also put one on your house. Use the promo code Prophecy. Get yourself a $50 discount, and yeah, it helps your Prophecy Club. And this is important. Now, I covered this yesterday. I've covered it many times. This is a summary of the active prophecies we're watching. I have 38 prophecies saying that suitcase nukes are going to go off in America. 38. Bible says in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let a thing be established. So when you got 38 of them, that's pretty established. So we have 17 that say that there's a food shortage coming. That's the topic for today, and I've got some additional new information for you. 11 say that the dollar is going to fall. That ties in. Massive arrests. It could be. If you look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the top 5 things there, I cannot say that all 5 of those will not happen this year. I can see it possible. All 5 of them happen. So listen up. I think I've got some important information to bring you. Topic, food shortage. Now, I know we've covered this many times, but let me point out something, just a quick refresher. He said the first thing he saw was a financial storm. And during the financial storm, he saw an earthquake. And that earthquake was caused because we split Israel. Well, that's the 2 things that Trump is trying to negotiate a peace for right now, Russia, Ukraine, and Gaza, Israel. Could it be that we are about to split Israel? Well, of course. Could that bring the earthquake, and could that be right in the middle of a financial storm? Yes, it could. Then what happens? Along about this time, part of the financial storm is the devaluing of the dollar. And that causes riots. The devaluing of the dollar causes riots. We can see that now. I think we can see that real clearly now. Then he went on to say he saw silver skyrocket. Now, we're not giving financial advice. 800-200-GOLD is where you go for that. Now, he also saw miracles returning to the church. Remember, the Lord told me, as the judgment hits, so are my miracles. 2 other people saw that what starts the commercials is the earthquake. So we may be seeing miracle revivals, maybe even by June or July. Who knows? It could be that early. I can't say. It's definitely not. Also, I want to send you to Joseph Kitchen because right now they have a moving sale. They're moving their location. And so they're suggesting that churches may want to start ordering in bulk. And if you want to get them, you want to go and first get yourself a machine package. Then you want to order whether you want food for 1 person 1 year, 2 people a year, 4 people a year, 6 people a year. I recommend this one, 6 people a year. Okay, here's some of the new information from Michael Snyder. The CEOs of Walmart, Target, Home Depot, and Lowe's warn that store shelves all over America could soon be empty. Okay, I know you're thinking, yeah, well, he's a prophecy student. Yeah, but I'm going to show you the same thing said by other people that are not prophecy students. Could it be this whole thing with tariffs, could it be that is what's about to bring those prophecies to pass? I don't think we can say, no, it won't. I think we can see very good possibility. So the article says it no longer makes any economic sense to import Chinese-made products. You remember Brandon Biggs saw that all of the Chinese ships shipping to America just stopped. You also remember Dana Coverstone saw that the Baltic Dry Index is dead. In other words, there were no ships moving on the planet anyplace. Could it be that tariffs cause that? Yeah, it could be. It could be that all of a sudden Trump just gets angry that they're not cooperating, or maybe they get angry at Trump and everybody just says, okay, we're not shipping anything anyplace. CEOs of Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Lowe's specifically warned President Trump that store shelves all over the country could soon be empty. There's no easy short-term way to replace that production. The CEOs flat out told him that the prices aren't going up. They're steady right now. But they will go up. And they also told President Trump that shelves will be empty if current tariff levels persist. They told Trump that the trade war with China had already started to disrupt the supply chain, officials said, and would only intensify by summer. He says, now we find ourselves in a situation where our economy literally cannot function properly without Chinese-made goods. Well, Chinese is the big one, but there's others. I mean, if you say, for example, if you have a part go out in your car and your car won't start and you can't get it because of a tariff, are you going to be angry? Maybe you voted for Trump, but I think that's going to make you angry. I think we're not going to like that. Goes on to say year over year, change down 35%. In other words, the things that are shipping to us are down, down, down. Those numbers might not mean anything to you now, but you will be quite upset when you go to a big box store and the item you're looking for is simply not there. Skipping down, we've seen a precipitous drop. Over 700,000 loads have evaporated nationally in the past week compared to 2 weeks prior. In other words, I think he's talking about a load is a container. Okay, a container is the size of an 18-wheeler. Try to imagine 700,000 18-wheelers not moving. And it's basically stopped. And that's just from China. But there's other nations that aren't shipping either until they get the tariff thing situated. So what Trump is meaning for good could be turned to bad. This article goes on saying the outlook for the weeks ahead is even more troubling. We're being told that ocean container bookings from China to the United States are down over 60%. But there is some good news. He says after this meeting, the tariffs on the Chinese imports will come down, Trump says, and that we're going to have a fair deal with China. Well, that's what he wants. But that doesn't necessarily mean China is going to cooperate. Right now, China is saying, you want a war? We'll give you a war. You want trouble? We'll give you trouble. And they don't seem to be cooperating at all. Because, see, the thing with China is, I heard it the other day, they call it the Red Plan. And their plan is to take over world domination and to replace or destroy or to remove America. So if they can do that by not shipping to America, why would they not do that? China has plenty of money. Unlike America, we are upside down. We are in a financial bind already. The suggestion that tariffs could be halved sent stocks soaring on Wall Street. Yeah. But the problem is the Wall Street's up and down, up one day, down the next. Can't count on it. White House press secretary says there will be no unilateral reduction in tariffs against China. So basically, the U.S. is saying, you want war? We'll give you war. China is saying, yeah, I guess we want war. So right now there is a war. Remember what You Be Ready told us. He said that there'd be a war of words, then followed by a war of bombs, and then followed by terror and people running for cover. The president has made it clear China needs to make a deal with the United States of America, and we are optimistic that it will happen. Yeah, right. Yeah, well, maybe we're optimistic on our side, but maybe China wants to use this as a way to weaken America. And when that continues, it will be up to the president that the tariff rate on China will be. Tariffs will remain where they are until a deal with China is reached, so they say, meaning there might not be a deal reached. But the Trump administration has no intention of going back to the way things were before. Okay, so let me explain it. I'm just going to show you something. A few years back, I bought this. You can see the dust on it. I'll keep it right there on my desk. I bought this, and I like it because it has, we don't sell it at the Prophecy Club. But I like it because it's bright and it has 6 D-sized batteries, and it can even send out an SOS signal. And it's called Day Duro, and that little strip right there glows in the dark, so I can find it in the dark. It's called Day Duro. I bought this, and about 6 weeks later, I saw one that looks exactly like it. Instead of where it's gray, it's green. And it's sold for like $2 or $3 less. So this American company, and I don't know that this is an American company, but this is the way it works. So an American company comes up with an idea. They go to China and say, we want you to make this lantern for us. How do you do it? So they tell them how to do it. They give them all of the technology, all of the great ideas. China makes it for them. But then China turns around and sells it for a couple of bucks less. So it's basically stealing from America. But they don't just do this to America, they do it to the whole world. And that's the reason you hear them saying that they're taking their trade secrets. Okay, the way it's supposed to work is you have a copyright on it, and you're the only one that can sell it. So China is not just ripping us off in one way, they're ripping us off in every way they possibly can. And for one, I think something needs to change. I don't think we should upset the whole world over it. I would like to have seen Trump go with this trade thing or this tariff thing a little slower instead of just saying the whole world, we're just going to make all of these changes at once. Maybe it would have been better to just deal with China and then deal with the next nation, And yeah, okay, maybe it takes a couple of years. That's better than we're about to have, according to what they're saying and according to what the prophecies say, empty store shelves. Let's go on. So recent data shows the Chinese economy tilting even further away from consumption toward manufacturing. China's economic system with growth driven by manufacturing exports will continue to create even more serious imbalances with its trading partners if the status quo is allowed to continue. But Trump says it's not going to continue. His right-hand guy there says that China must make some changes. It says China needs to change. This Besant says this. The country knows it needs to change. Everyone knows it needs to change, and we want to help it change because we need rebalancing too. But that's not China's goal. China has a red plan. China wants to take over the world and remove America from being the leader. So if this will help them to reach their goal, see, the average American wants to live a nice life, wants to make a lot of money, raise kids, we want to be happy. But that's not the goal of the Russians. That's not the goal of the Chinese. The Russians and the Chinese both want to replace America and rule the world. And whatever will move them toward that, they're willing to do it. Let's go on to the next one. Now, I told you there's more than just Michael Snyder. This comes from HellTurnerRadioShow.com. The coming shortages, get what you need now. There's no avoiding what's already happened. What he's about to make a case for is that even if the Trump-China tariff problem was solved today, we're still going to see 30 days, right now, we're going to see 30 to 50 days of empty store shelves already, and there's nothing we can do to stop that. Here's what he says. Around April 10th, China to USA trade shut down over tariffs. At least 80 open container vessels departed China last week were empty. They had to head to other countries to get loads, maybe. It takes 30 days for ocean shipping containers to go from China to Los Angeles, 45 days to Houston, 45 days to Chicago, 45 days to New York. That means that there is still no economic supply chain effects what is done April 10th until May 10th, meaning we're already going to see empty store shelves. It's already going to happen. It's already set up. Can't prevent it. Let's say China says, okay, let bygones be bygones. Everything is solved right now. We'll go back to how things were. It's going to be at least another 30 days before economic activity is revived. In Chicago, Houston, you'll have to wait 45 days, 50 days to New York. In other words, what he's saying is you will see food shortages, just about everything else shortage. We are about to see shortages. The only question is how long. Now, In that we've already had other prophecies from credible people. Dana Coverstone saw the Baltic Dry Index dead, nothing moving on the seas around the globe. How long will that last? We thought, well, maybe that was going to be caused by COVID. Well, COVID didn't cause it. Yeah, it caused some delays. Once you shut down, it takes a long time to get economic activity back again, and some you'll never get back again. Now that I have the timeline for the typical ocean freight, he goes on to say, today's April 24th. The shipping from China halted April 10th. So now we're 14 days into no new freight heading out of China. 16 days from now on, about Saturday, May 10th, shortages starting in LA from no inbound freight. 14 or so days after that, May 24th, shortages in Houston, Chicago. By May 30th, shortages will be in New York City, so he says. So he's saying it's already done. We will have shortages, even if the trade situation's fixed today. And as you know, it ain't fixed. And I know Trump keeps saying, oh, yeah, we're close, we're close. I don't think he's lying. I just don't think it's that close. Now, let me back up with some other things. Back in 22, I called Pastor Massey. Or actually, I think he called me. He said, I had a dream, and I think you want to know about it. And I said, yes, say on. He said, in the dream, I dreamed that Joseph appeared to me in a dream and gave me this. I said, Joseph, as in Joseph and the Pharaoh and the 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine? He said, yes, that Joseph came to me in a dream. And you might be saying, what? Who's this? Okay, well, let me tell you who he is and why I believe him. This guy had to study Islam for 14 years because he was raised in Pakistan. That's required. But Jesus appeared to him in 1989, gave him a miracles ministry. He baptized 25,000 people in Pakistan. This is a Muslim nation where you can't talk to people about Jesus. He still baptized 25,000 people there, started 300 churches, ministered in 20 countries, been ministering 25 years, a ministry of miracles. I've had him in my home several times. He's been a minister with us at our crusades. He's a real deal, him and his wife. So the dream was, my father told me to go and get the wheat. When I went to get the wheat, there was no more wheat. I just talked to Joseph Kitchen. They're doing everything they can do to get more wheat. Right now, they got wheat, but it might not last very long. So, reason if you want wheat, josephskitchen.com. So anyway, it told me there was going to be a food shortage. I was impressed that I should get a bag of wheat and a grinder for it. Then I saw all the 18-wheeler trucks are stopped. Okay, wait a minute. See, we wondered what could stop the 18-wheeler trucks back in 2022. Now, 3 years later, with the tariffs, if the ships don't come in to the ports and there's nothing to take off of the ships, there's nothing to put on the 18-wheelers. So that means the 18-wheeler trucks are stopped because there's nothing to deliver. Hopefully, you have your eyes open and your ears on, and hopefully you can listen to what the prophets have warned. We prayed this won't come. We're still praying it won't come, but it looks like it's coming whether we like it or don't. On to the next one. September 21. I'm not a prophetic person, she says. I don't get dreams. I'm just a normal person, normal life, kids, dog, family. I do a cooking show. But she said, I had this dream. I dreamed I walked into Walmart and all the grocery shelves were bare everywhere. I walked through the several sections. There was no food. I mean, there was no food at all. There were cleaning supplies, mops, but no food. You know, it ought to be that right there, we go to Joseph's Kitchen, we get ourselves some food. If you haven't already done it, get yourself some food. I mean, it's okay. I eat it just about every day. All the food in the grocery store, gone. It was in disbelief. I couldn't believe in Walmart, no food. That fast. What I kept feeling was, I can't believe the food went that fast from Walmart. It's just gone so fast. Look, if you've been to Walmart, you've been to Sam's Club, you walk through there and you say, oh, this is the land of plenty. Oh, they got plenty of it. But I tell you what, as soon as the idea gets out that there's not going to be food on those shelves, those would be cleaned off in a matter of hours. Here's another lady, Bonnie Jones. I was in a sound sleep, and the Lord woke me up and began to speak to me. And she says, there's going to be a downfall of the economy. Well, that's what they all say. Purchase non-perishable foods now. That was back in 22, too. Then we jumped to Byron Searle. In this vision, the radio talk show host became very serious in his tone and stated that it was being reported that several large cities were in lockdown. People were being ordered to stay inside their homes or apartments. I know what you're thinking. Oh, this is COVID. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe it's because it's not safe to go out. Maybe it's because there's people that are angry out there because their dollar has fallen, there's no food in the stores, and they cut off their welfare. And maybe it's because there's a lot of migrants out there that don't have any food either, and they're doing a lot of bad things to a lot of good people. I saw what looked like a riot taking place. Parking lots jam-packed, the vehicles' car doors left wide open, people running all over. I watched people running as fast as they could in almost every direction, screaming and shouting hysterically. I observed complete and utter chaos, hysteria. Not one person was calm. All running, yelling, screaming, and crying. I asked, what's going on? The National Guard were planning martial law order advising everyone would have to stay in their homes. He told me that nearly all of the store shelves were empty of food, water, and other goods. He said that the people in the stores were acting like crazed, rabid animals, throwing cans of food at each other and stealing each other's carts. Oh, not in America. But then we wouldn't be protesting Israel in America either, would we? I went in, it was complete chaos, wild, fighting, people in checkout lines yelling, screaming, cashiers because the debt credit cards were not working. Why? Why? Because the financial system changed. Because the dollar went down 30%, zero, worthless as leaves blowing in the wind. Credit cards don't work. You remember Brandon Biggs said he saw that all of the banks kept all of the money, not just the amount over $250,000. They just closed all of the money. The banks was confiscated by the banks. Oh, they can't do that. Well, have you read your bank contract? Have you been getting those little notices on your cell phone or in your emails that says, click here to continue because we had to change some of our policies? And did you click and did you go and read their policies? Because they've got emails from people that did click and go read it. And part of what it says was that they can bail you in. In other words, you're now a depositor into the bank and a owner of the bank. And if the bank goes belly up, they can confiscate your money to pay off their debts. Oh, surely they'll check it out. There's been articles out. We talked about it. So people began to bypass the registers and just run out of the stores without paying for food in their carts. I saw people attacking people who were running out with food. Waiting mobs of people grabbed and beat the people who were leaving the store with food, taking all of their food, leaving the people injured and lying on the ground. Not in America. Well, are you willing to risk that? Shelves emptied in minutes like ravenous wolves, frenzied sharks, all over food. It was unbelievable to watch this take place. Everything in the store was totally destroyed. The doors were pulled off the refrigerators, freezer sections broken, thrown all over the floor, shelving units pushed over, knocked down, broken up. There was no food left at all anywhere on the store shelves. Everything was gone and completely wiped out. Oh, come on, man, that's just one person. Is it? People began running back to the stockroom in search of more food. Store cleaned out. Tearing boxes, pallets of parts, looking for food. Boxes containing paper goods, they left those aside. Everybody wanted food. They were even taking pet food because it was still nutrition, and they thought they might have to eat dog food. Some people from the local churches looked terrified, crying because they were too late. They didn't believe any of this stuff was coming. Why didn't you prepare for this? After all, many watchmen had been warning for years for this to come. Well, I thought we would be gone before anything bad happened. People fighting over what little remained. I began to hear gunshots, bullets flying everywhere, many people being hit. No one came to their aid, just left dying on the floor. Why? It was over food. Clerks had people run away for fear of their lives. People were taking everything that was not tied down, carrying out like a frenzied mob. Walmart, a war zone. Gun battles in the store. People dead or dying on the floor. I saw people in TJ Maxx and Dollar Store in the small food sections. People even ran into the movie theater, were fighting over the popcorn and the candy. It seemed as if, in 1 hour, everything had changed. Gone from normal to utter chaos. They quickly swooped in, shot people everywhere. National Guard shot everybody holding a weapon. The clampdown had begun and no one would be allowed on the street. Everyone must stay inside or be shot. That's one reason to stay inside or be shot. As the vision ended, I heard the Lord say, why haven't you prepared? Now, let me ask you, especially if you've been watching Prophecy Club a while, if you haven't prepared, what do? 800, 200 gold for gold and silver, but you can't eat gold and silver. But you can barter with it. You can't have everything, so it's still a good idea to have some gold and silver. I'd also recommend you go to josephkitchen.com. They have a moving sale going right now. By the way, they don't have everything in stock because guess what? They can't get it. There's already shortages. They just told me. They can't get everything. They can't get lecithin, for example. No can do. Can't get it. Other things, I think it was grinders or was it the bread machine? One or the other. Can't get it. Absolutely can't get it. So go and get what you can. josephskitchen.com. You need to learn how to start making your own homemade whole wheat bread anyway. I eat it almost every day. I try to always have a slice before I go play racquetball. It helps me run like the wind. josephskitchen.com. Joseph's, there's an S in there, josephskitchen.com. josephskitchen.com. As you recall, this past Saturday, November the 9th, the Lord spoke to me 2 words screaming at me loud like a trumpet. Medical, medical. I take that to mean that not only myself, but also those that follow Prophecy Club, in addition to all of the other preparations we've made, we need to start making medical preparations. And I put that out, and I was deluged with emails sending me to this place. This is the place that all of you seem to like when it comes to medical supplies. So I called them, hooked up, and I've arranged to get you a 5% discount when you use the promo code PROPHECY. Promo code PROPHECY, 5% discount, and it's refugemedical.com. refugemedical.com. And as you can see, they have all kinds of, here's one of the main things you need to get. It's called a burn bucket. This tells you all about it. They also have a business bundle, a home bundle. I think everybody ought to have at least a home bundle. They also have vehicle bundles, church bundles. So they're already putting this stuff together, and this is not foreign-made stuff. It's all American-made, and it's by a Christian company. And you go to refugemedical.com. refugemedical.com.